The more I cook, the more I eat, and the longer in the tooth I get, I start to see food in more basic terms. Don't get me wrong, I'm a sucker for complex things. They're interesting to me. Yet at the end of the day, so much of cooking comes down to finding that balance between fire and water. They're primal, they're elemental, they're transformational. As basic as fire and water seem, that's where all the nuance lives, and I'm discovering more of it daily. I couldn't help but reflect on this idea as I embarked upon my recipe for Black Dal. Now the summer is finally here, and we kick off a season that fets the open flame at every picnic and barbecue. I couldn't think of a better dish to toast the beginning of July with. Black Dal is made from one of the crown jewels of Indian lentils, the skin-on Black Urad Dal. It's associated with celebrations like weddings and holidays, partly because of how luxurious it feels to eat. There's an unctuous quality I've never quite experienced in a grain, more so than risotto, and comparable to the sticky collagen imbued into a braise of oxtails. As you might expect with a celebratory dish, this is no 15-minute meal. This is a 4+ hour trek worthy of your afternoon. While the dal spends a lot of those 4 hours simmering away, I use that passive cooking time to include a few accompaniments to the meal. More on that in a few. I start the dal off in 2 pans. The first is for the urad lentils. I cover those with plenty of water and get that started right away before I work on anything else. These will cook their first 90 minutes in plain, unsalted water until they begin to break open. To flavor this dal, I start by making a paste. Into my wet grinder, I add 5 Sannam Chilies, a large knob of ginger, 1 green chili, a tablespoon of fennel seeds, 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds, a generous dash of hing, 1 tablespoon of fenugreek seeds, some coconut oil, and enough water to get the blade spinning and blitz this into a paste. A quick side note about hing. This is a resin, which also goes by asafoetida, and adds an intense sulfurous, oniony quality that mellows out over long cooking. It's super tasty and traditionally pairs with lentils and other legumes to help digestion. If you need to stay away from gluten like I do, make sure to read the ingredients before buying. Since it's a sticky resin, hing needs to be bound with something to package it, and a lot of times it's combined with wheat flour. Try to track down some with rice flour instead, or this one from Burlap and Barrel, which is bound with turmeric powder. I add the chili paste into our second pan over a medium flame to cook it down. The heat begins to evaporate the water, thickening the paste. When the water is gone, the temperature increases, allowing the paste to fry in the oil, intensifying the flavors. Then I add more liquid, this time with crushed tomatoes, and repeat the process. Then after the liquid and the paste reduces another time, the dal in our other pan is now cooked for 90 minutes and begins to break open. So I combine the two. I add more water and stir to combine. Over the course of the remaining 2.5 hours, the flame underneath our dal slowly transforms that water as it simmers, thickening its contents little by little. Over time, what's in the pan no longer resembles the liquid it once was. If it starts to stick, add more water and keep stirring. Stir hard enough to scrape the bottom of the pan and those bits will reintegrate into the dal. Once the grains of the urad are tender and the porridge is creamy, allow the liquid to reduce a little bit more and to tighten up one last time before taking it off the flame. We're going to finish this with a little something special. So, Black Dal is traditionally finished with cream and butter and is sometimes smoked. This is a vegan recipe, of course, so I wanted to bring in those notes another way. Smoked coconut milk. It's been too long since I last broke out the cold smoker on this channel. I set up my blender and pour in 1 can of coconut milk and about 1/2 cup of coconut yogurt. I turn the blender on low and fire up the cold smoker with mesquite wood chips. The blender creates a vortex with the coconut as it spins, pulling in the smoke and flavoring these delicious fats with a layer of umami. I put the dal back on the heat and stir in the smoked coconut milk until it becomes the perfect consistency. I can't tell you how much this added layer of rich smoke adds to the already delicious dal, but man, there's nothing like it. It's absolutely killer. As for accompaniments, while the dal was working, I roasted some hen of the woods mushrooms and a mixture of coconut oil, bay leaf powder, curry leaf powder, and black pepper. These roast for 25 minutes in a 350 oven until the edges are crispy and the bases are tender and darkened. There's some basmati rice, of course, finished with a little bit of fennel pollen because why not? To cut through some of the richness, I threw together a quick pickle using some lacto-fermented cabbage, aka sauerkraut, that I had hanging out. I drained the cabbage of the brine and coated it with chopped masala, a dash of mustard seed oil, and a few fronds of dill. This came together in 5 minutes, and if I'm being honest, this probably belongs next to every Indian dish that I've made on this channel to date. And then finally, I eat the dal. It's smoky, it's creamy. It's got plenty of heat from the chilies, but that long cooking has mellowed out the intensity a lot and really just warms the palate without blowing out your tongue. It's got so many savory components that it's crazy craveable, but it's also really complimentary on the table. It works so well with each of these other parts of the meal. This is a dinner fit for any celebration. It's one hell of a way to kick off the summer. Here's to more fire, water, and smoke to come. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm going to see you next time. Bye now.